Hi there, Mr. Stemple here, ready to talk to you all about the virtual STEM fair. I know you all have a lot of questions, so we're going to dive in and talk about what we're thinking of from a virtual STEM fair. And then if you have questions after that, feel free to reach out to me or whoever is your engineering or biotechnology or IT teacher and ask those questions. So what is a virtual STEM fair? It means that you and your team have to be ready to display and describe your project remotely. What are you going to use? For me, for engineering students, you're going to use Prezi and you're going to use YouTube. And there are tutorials about how to do both those things. What are you going to be required to show? There's an assignment right now up in Canvas for my students that has all these things in it. Things like your objective, things like your justification, your solution, etc. I want you to tell us the story of your project. Tell us how you figured out which project you wanted to do. Tell us the work that you've done so far. Give us the research that says this was a good project. Tell us how far you've gotten and, more importantly, where you plan to go if you had more time to finish this project. If your project isn't finished, be prepared to discuss the purpose of your project and what it would have looked like if it was finished. Be prepared to show us what it was going to look like if it was finished. That means diagrams. That means if you have Autodesk Inventor or Fusion 360 diagrams, we want to see those. We want to see your proposed testing plans and what you think the results would have looked like. Some of you have pictures from the internet of what your project was supposed to look like. Bring us those. Show us what your project would have looked like if you had been able to finish it. Let's get out to how do we do this? How are we going to present? How do we expect you to present it? I expect you, again, for my students, I expect you to use remote presentations with Prezi. That's the tool that I'm using right now. It allows you to do a little presentation up on the side and to record your face at the same time. So Ms. Richardson's put together a helpful video about how to do both Google and YouTube. And so these are linked into the presentation. You can see the presentation. If you go onto Canvas and download it, you can see it, and those videos will play there. As for Prezi, if you go to www.prezi.com, there are a bunch of tutorials up there. You can create a free account, and if you follow the tutorial videos on the website, it's really super easy to use. How are you going to finish your project? What happens if you don't get to finish your project, or how are we going to ask you to finish your project? When we return to school, we want you to once again start working on your project. Some of you are at a point where you'll be able to finish this project. Some of you may not. And that's just because you haven't progressed far enough that your project is going to be finished in the month or so that we'll have left at school. I do want you to work on it. And when we go back to school, I expect you to be working when you come to my class. I expect you to be spending that time advancing your project. While you're at home, there's a lot you can do remotely. You can make those diagrams online. You can create virtual electronic circuits. You can create virtual test plans. You can create your presentation and script your videos. You can do all this stuff virtually. You can work as a team virtually. You can do it on Microsoft Teams. You can do it on Zoom. You guys are good with phones and computers. You know how to contact your team. Contact your team, set up virtual work time, and get these things done remotely. Be prepared to discuss your challenges. This is a challenging time around the world, unprecedented. We've never experienced something like this on such a global scale before, right? But engineers have to deal with that. Engineers have to understand challenges, how to describe them, how to overcome them. So tell us why you didn't get to finish. Tell us what your project would have looked like if you did get to finish. This is a challenging time. We understand it. But as engineers, we don't get to sit back and say, oh, well, things didn't go well, so I didn't finish my project. You got to tell us why you didn't finish your project. Be specific. Could you not use the internet? Could you not get on video calls? Why weren't you able to finish this project? Be very specific, because engineers like solutions, not just sitting around talking about problems. You are still going to be graded on your performance at the STEM fair. So you're going to submit a video through YouTube and use the virtual tools that I've just talked about to create your best presentation. That's what's going to be judged at the STEM fair. We're going to do a virtual judging at the STEM fair. The judges have the rubric that we've been talking about all year. They have it virtually. They'll watch your videos. They'll judge you based on that rubric. If you need a copy of it, there's a copy of it up on Canvas. All right, why? Presenting remotely has always been important, even before the internet. People talked remotely, people talked by phone, people talked even by mail back in the day. But presenting remotely and working remotely has become an absolutely essential skill, especially in the past month. How many people are now working from home and doing things from home and collaborating from home? We cannot stop the work just because we're all stuck at home. This is what you're faced with right now. As engineers, you need to overcome that barrier and be able to virtually work on this project. This is something that you can put on your resume from now on. You were able to complete your STEM Fair project online in the last month. It's going to be something that you're going to talk about for the rest of your life. This is something that you will be able to do and be able to put on your resume. And I'm hoping that you do a great job of it. I know you all can, and I appreciate your hard work so far this year. I know this is a tough time, but our goal is to give you this STEM Fair experience, even if we have to do it remotely. You're still responsible to turn something in, as I mentioned before. Complete your assignments. We understand that your project may have materials that are still at school and whatever, but just still need you to complete something. You are still responsible to turn something in. But if you don't have internet access, there are resources and things that can be done on your phone. There are also options for free internet access. If you don't have internet access, there's my phone number. Call me. I'll help you. I'll help you try to figure out how to do this. But if you have more questions, log into my office hours to discuss it. I have office hours twice a day between 8 and 10, and then again between 12 and 2. You should be able to find one of those times that works for you. The login details are on Canvas. I'm trying to use Microsoft Teams, so log in and let me know that you have questions. I'll do my best to answer them. And then last but not least, why do we do engineering? We do engineering because of fun things like this. I don't know if I can get this video to play. I don't think that I can on my own video, but log in, look at this presentation, and watch this last video. It's a lot of fun. I hope you all are doing well, and I hope that provided some good information. Log on to my office hours calls if you need more.